Hey, it's Aaron. We had a really cool question from Thomas. Thomas wants to know whether or not the U.S. should considering adopting an end-of-life vehicle law that obligates manufacturers to take back vehicles from owners who wish to dispose of them. It's an interesting idea, but it clearly comes from someone who probably does not understand what happens to a vehicle when its life is over. Vehicles don't get just dumped into the nearest landfill. In fact, in the United States, about 95% of all vehicles at the end of their lives are recycled. And the number is only getting higher. So, we have a pretty robust market for that already. We don't really need to get the government involved in it. Right now, here's kind of the breakdown that happens. Um, the end of life cycle for a vehicle is first the vehicle's deemed unusable, so it's a wreck, maybe it's has a serious mechanical breakdown or whatever. The car is no longer usable and therefore can't be sold on the market to a used car buyer who wants to drive it. So at that point, the car is usually sold to a scrapyard. So it's sold to either a junkyard that specializes in cars or a scrapyard that specializes in recycling them. Then the car is stripped of all of its usable parts, either immediately or over time. Some parts are stripped right away. Those are things that have a high value as a scrap item or a sellable repair part. So those are things like the alternator, that creates the power from the engine for the electrical system, the radiator, which has usually a high copper content, the the catalytic converter, which has obviously a very high value for the precious metals that are in it. You have some other parts of the car that may or may not be valuable, alloy wheels, things like that. The tires could still be usable. Those are often resold as used tires. All of those kind of things. So all of those are pulled off of the car. The car itself might be kept in the scrapyard and then parted out as people come in and say, hey, I need a new front door, hey, I need a new window glass, or I need a replacement, this, that, or the other. And then some cars, they're not deemed useful for that purpose. Maybe there's a low demand for repair parts. So the car itself is immediately crushed and recycled. So the most of the junkyards do not do the actual recycling outside of selling those used parts. They crush the vehicles, load them onto a trailer, they end up at another facility where they're shredded, melted down, etc. And the all of the metals and a large portion of the plastics now are then sent out or sent in to make bulk metal that is then, or bulk metals and plastics and whatnot, that are then sent and very often become new cars. It's a very robust industry, and it's been around for a very long time, and it's doing a really good job. Right now, we're at almost 100% on lead acid battery recycling. We're almost 100%, over 95% on vehicle recycling. So there's a very robust industry, and it's already taking care of this. So we don't really need to get the government involved in doing it for us or forcing manufacturers to be involved in the process. The manufacturers it's a win-win all the way down the line. So there's no reason to interfere with that. So there you go. That's kind of a rundown of how the vehicle recycling system works, and it will grow and adapt as vehicles grow and adapt. So right now, it's grown to where it is right now, where they're handling products that didn't used to be in cars, airbags, things like that. And as electric cars and other things come in, we'll see more of that as well. So there you go. Hopefully that covers everything that you needed to know, Thomas. If you've got a question, you can find us on drivemodeshow.com. You can hit me up down below, or hit us up and ask your question, or you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, etc. So hit us up. If you got a question, we'll try to answer it. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.